Thank you. Okay. So today I'm going to talk about language and how it affects our creative powers in our mind, and take what resonates with you only in this class, in this beautiful space that we are sharing together. Never, if something doesn't feel right with you, just say no and let it go, because that is why humanity is in the state it is in today. Just blindly believing everything people say, they say, we say, that's been taught to us for generations, and not knowing why. So feel the information that you're getting, and only take in what resonates, what feels right for you. That's really important. And then also, just as it added, when things resonate with me, I also will then study that information from multiple sources to see what other people have to say about that topic. And that helps me, because I'm creating my own reality. So I want to choose the thoughts that feel right for me, and that help me create what I want. So take what resonates with you, and nothing that is being said today is meant to make you feel contracted back into your old story. I don't want anyone to leave here feeling unsafe or in that state of anxiety. It's not healthy. And so if any of that happens, call me, please, so I can help you balance that and understand what that is in yourself. We just want to talk about it. But I just don't like to leave anyone in that state of being alone. And so nothing is meant to do that in this class. And James is going to do opening for us. But I'd like to create a space of heart-brain coherence so that we're connecting all of our hearts. So we're all in resonance with each other. And I'd like to do a little a practice which helps get the low vibrations out of your body instrument, so we can resonate with each other good and open our hearts and receive the information, even if we don't necessarily have to understand it all. That's completely normal, but that way it will kind of soak in, because you'll have space. So what we're going to do is take a deep breath in, slow deep breath in, and then when we're breathing in the light, the high vibrations, and then as we exhale, we're going to vibrate our body, and it will loosen the trapped energy and get that out. And we're going to do that 3 times first, and then we're going to gain heart-brain coherence. So I will just do it for 1 time to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to take a deep belly breath, and then I'm going to vibrate my body. So we're going to do that practice. We're going to do it 3 times. And that will help you loosen the energy. And before you go into any kind of experience where you need to stay aligned and not be triggered or emotionally do this, it will get all this out of your body. So let's breathe in. Okay, and now we're going to open our hearts and connect our hearts from a space of clarity, a space of love, a space of oneness, a space of beauty. And we're going to breathe. We're going to do I'm going to go through 3 rests with you. And after 3 rests, we're going to keep breathing. And James is going to do opening meditation. So I'm going to talk you through the first 3. So we're going to breathe in to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Smile. 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2. Think good thoughts. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep breathing. And James.
And as you guys are just laying there, relaxing, breathing, I invite you just to go ahead and close your eyes if you're not already, to continue deepening in this state of connectivity and relaxation. I invite you to find yourself somewhere in the nature, a real or imaginary place, but a place that you feel connected, a place that you feel resonant. And as you find your place there, and we're all in this place of the nature, we are all connected. We're all here in this sacred circle, sharing this space. And I invite you just to kind of sense and become aware of that connectivity, that circle that we've created this morning, this afternoon. And let's just kind of sit there in the silence, feeling into the connectivity. There's life all around you. There's love all around you. Would you open and extend your awareness to become aware of that? To become aware of the love that's all around you, because you are never, never alone. I invite you to pull in that connectivity that you feel, all those connections, and feel that connectivity, feel the union that we have here today. And with that, I invite you guys to take a couple of another lovely, lovely deep breaths, opening your eyes ever so slightly, ever so gently, looking around the room, and at the same time, just staying in this here present moment, in the now and in the current. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, James. You have an amazing voice. Very relaxing. Okay, are we back, everyone? Right. So language. Language is amazing. Everything in the entire universe is data, interfacing with data, and through different forms of language. And so I'm going to go ahead and read what I just channeled the last few hours before this. Share screen. There it is. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this and then explain a little bit as we go. But I really want this after this to be interactive because it's so much fun to play with language. And there's people here that have so much knowledge with that language. And so I'm tired of just talking all the time. So I want us to interact and talk together. So today's channel that came in is the creative power of language. And this is what I received. Everything is stillness, energy at rest, a state of wholeness, completion, and beauty. The field of stillness, the field of still energy is alive, awake, and aware of its greatest desire, and its greatest desire is to know itself in totality. To know oneself and grow oneself, there must be other, for without other, awareness is limited. The essence of wholeness and completion is love, the love for one's own original state of being. It's the ability to cocoon oneself in its own womb and bathe in its own flawless beauty. This is the state of unconditioned being, unconditioned love, limitlessness, and love's greatest desire is to commune with itself in its natural state of flawless stillness. For love to know and grow itself, it must divide itself, creating other. It freely chooses to create self-imposed limitations for reasons of love. The creation of other selves divides the consciousness of the one, creating vibrational division or dimensions, densities of the mind-body instrument, conscious and unconscious, and many dimensions within. The result is lack of intimacy with oneself, resulting in a state of loss and abandonment, leaving it ever seeking reunification with self through its limited self-created others. Creating from a low vibrational state of lack of oneness renders an experientially projected reality that reflects relationships of abandonment and loss, leaving our body-mind complex in a continuous alchemical state of survival. Thus, we are unable to experience the vibrations of our true essence of love. What once was simple is now complex. Creating from complexity can produce chaos if one is disabled by the environment of fear. This complexity also produces one's own limiting division. This complexity also produces experiences which provide useful tools that, when unified as one language, are the key to overcoming one's own limiting division of consciousness. Unifying the dimensions of language results in triumph over its own self-imposed suffering, producing self-gratification, self-love, as one's truth is mysteriously revealed. The great desire of oneness and completion, which was once forgotten, is achieved, and once again, love may experience its own true essence of flawless beauty. Oneness, which is unity, stillness, and beauty, creates divinity. Divinity is divine separation, suffering. And divinity creates oneness. Beauty creates suffering, and suffering creates beauty. All is the one. All is divinity, knowing itself experientially, for reasons of expansion, and tangibly, somatically experiencing its own beauty. Limitation is growth, and growth is limitation, yet both equate limitlessness. Beauty births suffering, and suffering births beauty. Everything is experientially attained and collected energetic data stored at rest in the womb of stillness. The stillness divides its radiant oneness, birthing movement, which manifests data in formation. All manifested light forms are data in formation, used as instruments for love light to interface with itself as other. Language is used to exchange data between interfacing divine instruments. The data exchange is identical to the interfacing and combination of elemental data used for alchemical molecular processes which produce internal states of feeling or being in the body. Instrumental forms of light are multidimensional, and the language they use to commune and exchange data or experiencing is electromagnetic vibrational frequencies of light. And so I were doing just the 4 densities for the 4 bodies that we've been focusing on. And so the complex dimensions or densities are postures of light language in formation, the microcosm to the macrocosm. And the first one is the instrumental spirit light body forms, which is your superconscious. This is the ethereal dimension of 60 and higher, and it represents the east and the fire and the feminine. And the second one is the instrumental physical light body forms, or conscious, awake, waking state, physical dimension, 3D, west, earth, and the masculine. And the instrumental mental light body forms represent the collective consciousness, the social, experiential concepts of the dimensions, which is 4D, which is the north, and air, and masculine. And the fourth is the instrumental emotional pain body forms, which represents the unconscious, the spiritual dimension, the 5D, the south, the water, and the feminine. And so those are just the 4 reflections of the body there. And all those are dimensions within the reflections of the body. And that really just represents it. Let me finish. Complexities of language. Each dimension or density of conceptual light language uses the same sensory data to define and render reality, which is merely perceptual energetic states of consciousness. There are many more dimensions we will not discuss today. All dimensions use sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, which are all sensed through feeling the energies. The energetic data exchange through feeling is defined internally using 3 brains. The first one is the unconscious mind or the body, which formulates its perceptions from intuition or cellular programming. This brain is in the gut. It's called the mesentery. It's the messengers of the autonomic nervous system of the internal world. Its perceptions are defined from the past, and these perceptions reflect the inner child. The second is the conscious mind, or the whiteboard, which formulates its perceptions from intellect, written and spoken word. This brain is in the head. It is the translator of the sensory data used to narrate the externally projected world, formulated by the internal world. Its perceptions are defined from duality, and these perceptions reflect the student. And the third is the superconscious, or the mind, which is the still field, and it formulates its perceptions from oneness, listening, and learning. This brain is in the heart. It's the teacher of the lessons, learned from the experiences of self-imposed limitations. Its perceptions are defined from unity, and they reflect the soul. And that was the 3 brains. I put down here number 4. So this is the brain, the mind, the quantum consciousness, the mind of spirit. All that is, was, and never will be, experiencing itself in form, for reasons of growth and love. All is the one, knowing itself experientially, that it might experience its own beauty somatically in form, grow itself exponentially through the language of electromagnetic, vibrational, sensory, movement, and sound, that it might express itself in many forms, that it might commune with itself divided, and through this communion, resurrect its truth and achieve its greatest desire to return to wholeness. Rest in the stillness of its own unconditioned flawless beauty as love. All is the one, choosing to die, that it might birth itself into love and know itself as limitless, luminous, radiant life, light, love. So that's what I got today. We'll go, and there's so many postures, light forms postures for communication, and they're multi-dimensional. Open this back up here. Oh, there you go. So like color, sound, taste, touch, smell, water, fire, smoke, the trees, people, animals, the wind, everything is language. Everything that you see around you is data. It's just information that's rendered in form. And so if you know the language of each dimension, you can travel. We're multi-dimensional. Then you can travel the different dimensions with the language. You can travel in consciousness, because everything is consciousness. And so when we say we're going to 5D, we're not going anywhere. We are just shifting into a different vibration. And so we're thinking and speaking and feeling and creating from a totally different mind, from totally different vibrations. And those vibrations, they activate light codes in our DNA. And so we get new information. And also the hologram, or the backdrop of our play, gets upgraded also. So when we connect with the consciousness that's in the field, it activates the codes in the light codes in our body that we have activated with our instrument, and we connect, and then we get the information, and we get the hologram. That's the holographic reality that is seemingly solid, but not solid at all. And it's malleable. If you can't find something, just wait a little while, because you'll shift back to that timeline and you'll find it. It'll show up, and that happens all the time. Okay, Marie just had an experience of that today or yesterday, and I did. So that's happening all the time. So if you can't find something, just wait a little while. I usually just become calm and still, and I'll go right to it. It will show up where I left it. And that's happening all the time. We're just not aware. And then the spoken word, when we connect with a high vibration, we get new information, and then our language is different. Our spoken language is different, which is because our programming is different, because we have to have a program. This is a biological computer, so it has to have a program. And so the words that we speak, and all the language around us, all the information, it has new meanings and new definitions. I'm speaking a language to seemingly inanimate objects, which are not at all. Everything is alive. Everything is alive. And right now, we are in the story, the human paradigm of the dark night of the soul. And so the dark night of the soul is what I just explained. I'm going to limit myself. I'm going to forget who I am. And I'm going to come into this 3D reality. And I'm going to believe I am a body. And I'm going to believe I am the thoughts in my head. I'm going to believe I am the character in the play that I'm playing. And then I am going to become lost and not know that I'm lost, and ever seeking home, which what I don't know is myself. I'm seeking myself. So I'm seeking home. I'm seeking safety. I'm seeking a protector. I'm seeking a God, a creator. Where do I come from? And it's upon creating chaos for yourself in this state of unknowing that those souls that are ready will choose to go within and pause. Okay, something is really wrong in my life. That's what I did. Okay, wait a minute. Like, I did not, when I was 5, I did not expect to be sick for 18 years. I did not expect to get hooked on pain medicines. I did not plan to become an alcoholic. What the hell is going on in my life? Like, and everybody out there was the problem. And you, because you treated me like this and all this stuff and whatever. And I just, there was a point and I'm like, okay, clearly I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And I can't die for some reason, because that would be so easy. And so I just got at the bottom of the barrel and I just couldn't do it anymore. And so there was a moment of surrender. And gosh, I just had the same experience on Saturday night at Bradley's. He did the folk singing on Saturday night, and I was in my bedroom, and I just like literally was just like that, like, okay, like, kill me now, I'm just done, I don't care. And there was a huge shift inside, just an energetic shift, and I instinctively knew that it wasn't anything out there, it was me. And so then I went with him. And I worked through all of that stuff, and I overcame myself, my self-imposed limitations, my self-imposed suffering, and I woke up to the truth of who I am, which was the most amazing experience that is completely unable to describe what that feels like in this human 3D language, because it's only experiential and it's feeling. And I would experience that over a million times just to experience that again. That's how amazing it was. So in that moment, I re-experienced my own beauty like it was the first time. And that's what the divine is doing, re-experiencing. And in this experiencing of limitedness, it's also creating information through the exchange of itself, the data, just like molecules, they interface and they combine, and then they create something new. And like oxygen, hydrogen, oxygen, H2O, and then they create water, right? It's the combination. And so it's creating new information, and that information then goes to the field, to the field of stillness, and it's used to create further experiences for expansion. So it's collecting data. And so all is the divine, knowing itself experientially, that it might grow and experience its own beauty over and over and over, as though it was the first time, falling deeply, madly in love with myself. And I can honestly say that I am deeply, madly in love with myself, because I know exactly who I am. And when you listen to love songs, you just belt those songs out to yourself. It is amazing to be driving and singing a love song to yourself, and to be able to receive that. Like, I can't remember what it's like to not feel that way. And when I see people who are talking negatively about themselves, I feel like somebody's stabbing me in the heart, because they're me. Like, you are me. When I'm talking to you, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to me. And that's the mind that I live from. And so you are all my reflections. And so when we talk negatively to ourselves, we're putting a spell on ourselves. That's why it's called spelling and cursive. And there is a dark force that is very well aware of that. And this stage of veiling is a natural state of evolution. So it's not wrong. It's the state of evolution of a creation. We've just been stuck in it for a long time because we have been hijacked, literally, by some negative energies who have destroyed their creation because of reasons of service to self. And so they've kind of leached onto us, and now we've gained our freedom, which we have. We're just watching the old fall down while the new comes up, and people are in a lot of fear, and it feels really weird and dreamy. Right? I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I live in Alice in Wonderland now. Time is almost non-existent for me anymore, and space is everything's just snapshots of experience. So anyway, but when you are thinking negative thoughts, you're injuring yourself, and then you're injuring other, because the other is you, right? So when I'm thinking negative thoughts and judgment about someone, I'm feeling it now because I know that I'm them. And so when I feel that contraction, I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on? I must be not in my right mind. Ooh, that was good. Not in my right mind. Yeah. Oh, so I have to get in my right mind. And now it always comes up, Julie.
Oh, sorry.
So now I can feel it before it even like gets in my mind. It's like always comes right here on the left side because it's connected to the right brain, which is your creative side. And so I'll feel it and I'll look at it. Oh yeah, no, that's judgment, or and so I'm constantly in an internal, external communication. And because I don't want to create with those thoughts. And am I perfect at it? No, but I'm pretty good because they do come in, but I recognize them quickly because my body contracts. And the feeling of being fluid and expansive is amazing. It's so amazing. And all of that is thought. And so we're going out of the dark night of the soul. That's the paradigm we're leaving. So we're getting a new genre. I just learned that word not too long ago. Sorry, I'm proud of that. A new genre. And the one I'm creating is beauty, is wellness, it's health, it's cooperation, it's community, it's love, it's forgiveness, it's peace, it's joy, it's all. And I have a feeling all of you are interested in that too. And it's allowing other people their experience without labeling it as right or wrong. And all of this is thought. It's postures of thought. And so everything around you is alive. Everything is thought. And everything reflects something in you. And so, just for example, when people talk, I hear more than one language happening at the same time. And Veronica was here, and she was purging a lot of stuff while she was here. And she dropped her water bottle, and and the part of it broke, and she said she was upset because she had dropped it. Oh, Rob's coming in. She was upset because she had dropped her water bottle, and the tip broke off. And so she said, now when I hold it up to try to drink it, it's just pouring all down my shirt. And I said, oh, thank God it's broken, because that dam has been stopped up forever. We just think you must have definitely broke something loose. And so thank God it's flowing. Like, and that's like really true.
Her water broke. She was birthing.
She was birthing. She said she was birthing herself. And like, that's serious. Like, that is real. And people think that that's metaphor. Like, I think I may have told you when I just went home this past summer and my key fob didn't work for like over a year. And so I set up this agreement. Okay, I'm going to process all the childhood stuff. I'm going to see all the beauty in it. And I saw all my siblings, which I have 9 living siblings. And I don't have a lot of close relationship with any of them because of the childhood stuff and what have you. And I went up to the house and I just experienced all the beauty there. And I was with all my siblings and experienced their beauty. And then the day before I left was when I went to the house. And the next morning I woke up and now the key fob works just fine. And like my washing machine wouldn't spin. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Something's stuck. So I went and I meditated and I found out what it was and I let it go. And now the washing machine works fine. So everything outside of you is a metaphoric skit of what's happening inside of you. So if something is happening out there that you don't like, you need to find the block and get rid of it, and then think new thoughts and feel new feelings. But that takes a lot of practice and a lot of awareness. And so emotions are a language, nature is a language, color is a language, written word is a language, spoken word is a language, thoughts are a language. Oh my gosh, there's just so many things. And like, okay, an example, a little while ago, I had come back from vacation and I had a question. I had an intuition about something. Should I do this or should I not do this? And I wasn't sure. And I kept feeling into it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what it is. If I should go with my gut on this one. And so then I was meditating and I went to sleep and I woke up in the morning and there was a bag of carrots in my bag I had just got back from vacation. I didn't know they were in there. And apparently, I don't know, I was sleeping, so I don't know. But my dog got up and chewed them. So there was this big orange spot and I'm like, oh, go with my gut, orange. That means go with my gut. And so that's what I use for my language. It works all the time. And it's because the orange is your, that chakra, that is your intuition. And I'll see numbers and the repeating numbers, and I know what they mean. And so the divine is here, and this one means yes, go forward. This one means nope, don't go that. If the numbers are off, if it says, it says 1112 instead of 1111. Then I'm off and I need to recheck myself inside. And of course, everything is energy. So I'm feeling it. So I don't go necessarily I'm feeling what's out there. And like I had this, before this, I started doing these classes, like the divine's like, girl, get going, do it. I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, just do it. I will help you. Just do it. And I'm like, okay, but I don't know what I'm doing. Just do it. And so then I walk my dogs and there's this bird on this bush and it's screaming at me. It's like this far from me. It's just, I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And that is really the divine, me talking to me through my other forms. And that's the world I live in. And I have been able to, some of the people that live here with me now, invite them into that reality. And they see the synchronicities everywhere. And so I was driving. Zena, you had said it about the Tennessee license plates. And so now I see Tennessee license plates everywhere too. And like a car pulled up in front of me. It says Harmony House Cleaning. And I'm just dying laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, Harmony House Cleaning. Well, we're cleaning ourselves out, right? And I love working in being nature. And then it says, so then the next car had a tag, bumper sticker. And it said, trees are the answer. Like, yes, trees are definitely the answer because trees talk to me and they talk to me all the time. They give me information. And so I could go on and on and on about the experiences, but also we have the ability, because I know that everyone is me, I have the ability to direct someone's mind and body and use it for a tool to help others. And we can do that. That's what's happening, is that these energies have done that to us and directed our minds, and they control us through our body, the programming in our body. And I think I told you this before, maybe not. Anyway, just this is a quick one. And so this girl I'm working with, and she's trying to stop drinking. She's got a lot of horrible childhood trauma. And so I was with her in her store where she was working, and I was trying to tell her that, you know, you're running everybody's life except your own, and you know, you need to take care of yourself and these sort of things. And so one of her employees, he's like 18, and he just comes back in the back, and he just stands in front of us and starts talking. And he says, I was with my brother in a hotel, and they were in that room with him and his wife and their kids, and I was in this room by myself. And in the morning I got up and I had all 4 of their luggage, and mine was in the room, and I was trying to take it to the car. And he said, and I fell down the stairs and I screamed, and my brother came out. He thought I had died. He thought I was being killed. And I said, I know, isn't that crazy how we just carry everybody else's lives on our shoulders and we don't even take care of our own? And like, then we end up getting hurt and we're helping everyone else and they're fine. And he's like, I know, isn't that crazy that we do that? And I'm like, it is. And she's just looking at me like, oh my gosh. And then he says, and one time I was at my aunt's house and she was going to pick some fruit and vegetables in her garden. And so it was dark. It was dark outside. You couldn't see anything. So I took the flashlight and shined it on the path so she could pick the fruit and vegetables. And then her little daughter, who was 5, she had a flashlight and she was shining it on my face so I wouldn't fall. And I said, I know, isn't that amazing? How the children are the brightest lights and they just shine the way and we can know where we're going when we have these lights. And he's like, I know, isn't it amazing? And then he just turns around and walks out. And she looked at me, she's like, oh my God, are you a witch? But it's so amazing because in about 2 minutes, she completely dissociated and like forgotten all about it. Like it's just gone that quickly. And that's what we're doing all the time. We're dissociating out of the present and into a memory past. We're lost in time and space. And so everything is talking to us all the time. And then the language, the written language, which James, I want you to help me with this, and whomever else. I mean, I all want to talk about this, but this is so amazing. How we don't know that what we're speaking things into existence, and what we speak shapes our neural network, and it shapes the neural network of others around us, and it's vibrational. And the spoken words are the connector. I'm going to read this really quick because I just thought this is really good, and I channeled this about maybe a month ago, and this explains it quite well. It's about the spoken word, and it was just talking to me, explaining to me what I was doing, because I was trying to get clarity on how it is that my energy is helping others to heal. Sorry. Okay, there it is. So I asked it a question, and this was the answer it gave me. And because I was asking about language and how language affects us. Because sometimes when I talk, people don't understand what it is I'm saying, but they seem to understand later. Like they always, things will come up. And because when you use a higher order of language, it activates those dormant light codes in the DNA. And so it says, I'm communing with others from the mind of a different paradigm, interfacing with them. I'm using a different language, new words, new emotions, high vibrational energy, new concepts. The verbalization of thoughts transforms the individual's neural pathways. It reconfigures the pattern of the dendrites extending from the neurons. The pattern of the dendrites determines the information that's available to the soul experiencing form. The patterns resonate the receiver or the body or the DNA with the light codes in the field. The intent behind your spoken thoughts, words, determines the vibrational frequencies the other will feel within themselves. Your words are the conduit that creates conductivity between interfacing vessels, so resonance can occur, creating a channel. The other is lifted to a higher dimensional vibrational frequency, lifting them from hell into heaven. To maintain the high vibrational state of heaven, the others must reconfigure their thoughts, which will result in an altered parallel reality. Consciously choosing to think new thoughts and speak new language, the body will reshape its neuronal patterns, overriding the existing programming that keeps you trapped in 3D hell. So what we speak out, it affects ourselves and other people greatly. And our language, we don't understand how our language is written. It's a language within a language. So it's spoken word, the written word, it has dimensions within it also, just like everything out here is speaking in different dimensions. How your emotions are speaking, your body language is speaking, right? There's everything is language, postural language. And so it's just like I had wrote in the first class, what was resource, so renew, and so these prefixes and suffixes, and saying the word not, it's negating what you're saying, and a big one, which is never say understand. I understand, because you're literally giving permission for someone to govern your energy. So it's understand. And so it's what you put after I. And then illuminate, the word illuminate. I used to use that word all the time, and it's like, don't use that word because it's illuminate, ill. And so it's never say ill, illuminate, just say illuminate. And confederation, it's confederation. So you're negating what you're saying, and you are, so that's controlling what you're creating or not creating. And so the language, the words you speak, and the intent behind them, of course, which is the energy of whether it's coming from love or fear, the mind of a 3D or the mind of 5D, determines what you create. So with that, I would love for you guys to share. And I know James has so much information on this, so bring it.
So I love this subject because it's like kind of like my expertise here is breaking and splitting parts together. What I like to share about, especially when we talk about the English language, and a lot of people say, James, you're crazy. I say the English language, you have to understand this construction of language. You have angle, English, Anglish, angel. So the word actual English is really an experimental light language. And I'm gonna explain to you just really quick how this came about. Now, the English language as we know it is not that old. And there's of the four most influential people in the world, okay, ever has been, one of those people were William Shakespeare. Why was William Shakespeare so influential? Because he literally created 1,400 words in his playwrights. Now, not only that, did you know that William Shakespeare also was instrumental in translating the Bible into English? Wow, right? So guess how many words he probably came up with then? Now, so here's the thing too, is that when we begin to start looking at English and understand how it functions and operates, that my aunt, she was working on something, and it's called the Omega Code, right? In the Bible, they call it the Omega Code. And so I basically like cracked the Omega Code, which everybody knows what it is once you understand it. Basically, the Omega Code is the idea that all is one. There is only one. And so when you begin to start looking at your language and every single word that you speak, you're really only speaking an expression of oneness. And if, in a sense, that expression of oneness is distorted in any way, you will distort the consciousness or the constructs in which you build around you. So let me give you a kind of example. There's three primary ways in which we talk about language or English. and that's denotative, connotative, and dictative. When we talk about, let's talk about dictative, right? What basically what the dictionary means. Let's take a word like this, perfect, right? See, if I am, one of my major things in this world is to get people to understand, truly understand what perfect is based on what the actual word means. Now, the dictionary will tell us that it means without flaw. Now, that's what's been dictated to us, not truth. Okay. How does a word feel? The word feels something, it means something that we can never achieve. Connotatively, that's how the word feels. All right. But what does the word actually denotatively mean? The word denotatively means each action, perfect. Perfect means every single thing that happens. That's what perfect literally means. But see, as long as on an energetic level, the word perfect within your consciousness means something other than perfect, you can never create a perfect world around you. You must be able to know and understand that both of the feeling and the thought must be congruent. So, hey Beth, can you let me share screen real quick? And I just want to share like a couple. I got a couple like wordplay things, and it's okay. All right. All right. I'm going to start right here. So the word is pro-phi-C. See, pro-phi-C. When you look at it, that's what it really is. Let's keep going. The word is profit. When you look at how they're actually pronounced, they're the same word. If you're a prophet, you should be profitable. Right? So when we look at the word pro-sonify, when you look at these words, you really can begin to start understanding that there's so much more to what it's actually saying to you. Okay, so then I'll stop here so you can kind of look at this. Oh, my bad. So we can just kind of look at this right here, because this is really kind of telling us every single thing about really what our language is, who we are. People ask me all the time, it's like, James, what's my reason? I was like, your reason is to re-son, to become a son, a son, re-a son. Everybody is the chosen people. Chosen means choose in, right? Israelite, person, sit a son. Soul means of the sun. Come on. So that's why I was like, there's so much more. The spiritual means spirit you all. The word energy means inner God. When we look at these words, we truly can keep sorry about that. When we look at these words, we truly know that there's something really kind of going on with our language here. I got one more slide, it's pretty cool, that I show because people like to see the bun dancing. And if you kind of look at this, you can see what I'm saying here. It's more to interpret and look at these words. The word see is to need. Now we would not say a person that's taking a knee has need. We wouldn't say that typically, but the word is still in play. Shanna's loving it. She eating that. That's Shanna, you loving this, aren't you? Watching. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, and you can see these different constructions of language, and English has deliberately been made this way, such that if you don't know that all is one, the Omega code, when you look at the words, these words, you don't have to go and read the Bible, read all of these fanciful books. Look at your language. Your language has every single thing in the English language encoded in it. It tells you exactly what it is. You only need to just see that. And so with that, I stopped talking now.
You have to. He's so amazing at this. And yes, if you know that, if you can break down the words, like you can shift between dimensions, right? You know what you're creating. And so I'm constantly looking at words it always says, look that up, look that up. And then once people are talking, certain words will just like pop out at me. And I know that means something big. And so I have to like think into that or feel into that or look it up. Not nearly as um, uh, wise as James. I mean, he's amazing. James, I would love for you to do like a whole class on this because this is so important. We're creating with our thoughts, our words, our emotions. It's all vibrational, but it's the intention behind them. It's the mind that it's the vibration, the frequency behind the mind. So the presence that determines what the expression will be or the lack of expression. And so a lot of times when we think we are creating something, you know, we're creating something positive, like we're speaking it into existence or imagining it, dreaming it, we're not because we don't have the right language and of course the right mind, the vibration behind the mind with it. And so speaking in lack is it and everybody's it seems is doing it all the time because it's normal, right? That's what we're programmed to do. And so you should worrying is praying for what you don't want, literally. And so when somebody leaves, I don't say drive safely or any of that. I say I love that you got there fine and you're healthy and you're in perfect condition and everything was intact and everything went perfectly smoothly. And you're walking in my front door right now and I'm hugging you. Like that's what I say to people, you know, when somebody's unwell, like Raj, he was sick, he was in the hospital. If you go read what I wrote on him, I was prophesizing, speaking into existence, his health. You're welcome, Raj. But I was. I mean, when I saw that and all these people were like, oh my gosh, you know, and you had that C stuff that, you know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't say that about my beautiful Raj. Please don't do that. It hurt me. I feel those words. They feel like weapons and that vibration. And so I had to override all that and for myself and for him because he's me and I love him because I love me. And so when I doing my affirmations, you know, at the beginning of all of this journey, I was so intentional to never speak from lack. And, you know, I would say, because when I was trying to stop drinking, I would say, I love the way my body feels and the clarity my mind has when there are no mind altering substances in my body. So I would say things like that and I would feel the feelings of like being in perfect health and clarity. And so if you say, please help me stop drinking, that's never gonna happen. Okay. Please help me this, or please help me. You're talking in lack. So you're speaking lack into your reality. And also identity, that's a big one too. I don't identify myself as something I do or, you know, an action. It's presence. And that's what people are having a hard time with right now because everything's changing and we have used our identity or what we do, the external world, as our identity because we created false identities because we forgot who we were. And so now that that world is falling down, people saying, nothing feels real. I'm like, I'm so confused. I don't know who I am. And I'm in a lot of pain. I'm feeling really unwell. And it's all this shift. And so changing your identity and speaking it into existence is so important. And I was constantly, because I was studying so much, I had that first spiritual experience. Well, the first one, I had turned, I was in Michigan and I was visiting my friend, and her father is a master in Course in Miracles. And so she said, you should listen to this or read this book. And I was starting to make jewelry just to distract my mind, something to do. And I would listen to these spiritual teachers and, PTSD and healing and all that stuff. And so my thinking mind was offline doing the jewelry thing. And I was just absorbing all of those thoughts from this. And it was all beauty. I listened to Eckhart Tolle so much, I probably can speak him word for word. And just his words, I didn't have any idea then. I was just so lost and trying to figure out why I was suffering so much. And so I was just taking in and his words. I didn't understand what they were saying. And I listened to Course in Miracles and I'm like, I don't have any clue what this is, but it feels good. And what I'm listening to before, which is cops on TV and who killed who. And of course, paranormal, that's been my whole life, not that one, of course. That was not getting me anywhere. And so now I understand that they're speaking a higher language. They were literally reshaping my neural network without me knowing it. And man, I love them for that. Have somebody speak to me in a higher order of language, that they knew what they were speaking was shaping people's minds. It literally just birthed me, helped me birth myself, my soul, my spirit, my truth. And I had no idea that that's what was happening. And so, when I speak to other people from a higher mind, and higher, I don't mean that as better, it's just different. I now can see, because I couldn't understand why. I like to think, I like to know how things work. I like to take them apart. So now I understand what it is that I'm doing why the good results that I'm getting with the people that I work with. And it's because I'm speaking in a higher order, like they did for me, and they reshaped my neural network. And English was my worst subject. If you'd have known me 5 years ago, and I never even talked because I was so afraid of everything and everyone. And now I can't shut up. Sorry. But I have so much to say because life is so amazing. And I want to help you. And so I have to talk to help you if you want help or if you want to have fun. And so I take people out in nature and I just use metaphor and I reflect to them everything in nature and how it reflects to the journey of the dark night of the soul. And they get to experience and feel their emotions, their trauma, and they can feel safe enough to be vulnerable to talk about them because they can be present in the now. And we're not talking about them in the experience, we're talking about them using metaphor. And half the time they don't even know they're talking about it, which is really so amazing. So amazing. Jana. Yeah, Jana just she went to this huge NLP. Oh, Jana, your hand is up. There she is.
So I would just wanted to share a little something like fun for people to maybe kind of start feeling around in how, I don't know if everybody's familiar with the meta model. And basically what it is in neurolinguistic programming, it's a set of questions designed to specify information and kind of challenge and expand the limits of a person's model of the world. So it is built on like the distortions, like generalizations and deletions that a lot of times we speak without even really being conscientious of. And but if you want to look up meta model, but there's like, for example, distortions, what falls under distortions would be like a mind read, like, you don't like me, and the response to that would be like, well, how do you know I don't like you? So cause and effect type of statements like, you make me sad, how do I make you sad? So it's listening to that, not just in other people's language but in our own. So under distortions is mind read, loss performative, cause and effect, complex equivalence, like, she's always yelling at me, therefore she doesn't like me. Presupposition would be, if they knew how much how much work I put into this, they wouldn't do that, or they wouldn't treat me like that, kind of thing. So that all falls under distortions. And then you've got generalizations. So like a universal quantifier, which I think most of us are guilty of. You always, you never. I mean, I'll catch myself doing it sometimes and I just will groan, because it's, and then even responding to yourself in your mind, you can say, really, you always do that? Or when somebody says that to you, it's just to kind of like bring it back around. And it's kind of fun when you get to start playing with this and catching yourself doing this. So yeah, generalizations, model operators fall under that, universal quantifiers. And then you've got deletions. So which are like nominalizations, verbs that have been turned basically into nouns, like unspecified verbs, for like, she rejected me. And in that, your response is like, who specifically rejected you? Um, and that it's a way to kind of like neutralize that kind of speaking. And so it's fun. These are really fun to play with, and it's under meta models. And I can put a little link in the chat there. And the other real quick thing that I wanted to talk about, to have you look at, is hierarchy of ideas, because Beth will often be talking about how, yeah, she's up here, it's abstract. It's a very, it's abstract and then large, big picture. So big picture. Ideas that sometimes I know that she wants everybody to be able to understand the language to which she's receiving, which is I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it takes me a while, so I have to have her, what I call, chunk down, that information, so that that gets it more into the details to where I can understand it. And hierarchy of ideas is wonderful in coaching when, when you're trying to get to a specific way of helping somebody, because some people, need the details, and some people are very big picture. So if or if they're going for a goal that's big picture, you take the smallest detail and then do what you call chunking up. So that's really nice when you're taking this in, because some people this comes really naturally for. I know that Rob really picks this up, in the moment, and Raj, and I don't know, some of the rest of you might, but I like, I have to like let it soak in for a minute, and that's how my mind processes it. So those two things I think are invaluable for coaching, and I just wanted to share that because it is so fun to rewrite language and to unpack it. It's my mind's blown that doing that course again in person was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I've never been so excited about language in my life. So that's it. Just wanted to share that.
Thanks, Jana. Yeah, she's completely changed. She has made this huge shift. I mean, huge shift, and it's so amazing. I'm so happy for you, Jana.
Thank you, honey.
And yeah, we have to understand how it is I'm thinking. and what words I'm using when I'm speaking, because we are creating all the time. And so if you can, in the first, like renewing the mind, so when we went through all, you created the new outline, the blueprint for your mind, right? And then related it to your body. And this is a way to evaluate how you're using your new mind. Are you using it? Are you in flow? Are you aware of what you are, of what's going on in there? And then the correlating emotions in the body, and then what's being reflected. And so it's gaining and maintaining awareness, but also having the knowledge of how words, like James, breaking that down, because one word is like multidimensional, and so you're connecting vibrations and putting them together and creating a new thing, just like hydrogen and oxygen. You connect them and then you create a new substance. It's the same with all of those. And so when you're a creator, you have to know, you have to be a disciple of the mind. That's what it means to be a disciple, is to be watching that all the time and knowing what's going on up there. And before it even gets in there, like you can, like, oh, nope, that's not what I want. And what Janice says is amazing tools to reshape your mind and figure out what it is that you need to be aware of and how you can change it. And say, Marie.
Okay, several things. James was masterful, and that channel tonight, Beth, was mind-blowing. It truly was, and I'm just in awe of that. For many decades, I don't want to say how many or it will date me completely, I have been into the whole revelation of the Logos. And the Logos is the word. And so that scripture says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then later we see, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And so for a long time, probably long before this life, I've seen that we are the Word, we are the living Word, we are the Logos made flesh. And that as we speak the spoken word, we are the Word in flesh. And that energy is so powerful. And every word we speak has that resonance and that power and that association. If I say the word tiger, there's no way, if you know English, you cannot see tiger in your mind. Now, James might see a baby tiger, and Beth might see an adult tiger, and I might see, two tigers. But the point is, we're all going to see tiger because we know the association of that word. And so we get in these habits, and I'd like to share several words that came to me as Beth was sharing. The first one is the word but. And for many years now, I know when I first came here to be with Beth months ago, I lost track of time, I would talk to her about but and just. The word just and the word but are takeaway words. I believe so-and-so, but so-and-so, or we'll make a statement and we'll say but, which is a lack or a takeaway word. And so I would remind us all, and every time I do it, folks around here will hear me say, not but, and then just is another word like that. Well, I'm just feeling so-and-so. Well, no, I'm feeling so-and-so. I'm just trying to say blah, blah, blah. No, I am saying so-and-so. I don't need to diminish the power of what I'm saying with the word just or the word but. When I was traveling as a mediator in labor disputes, I was by myself totally, because, you know, it's solo profession. And I would go to a restaurant by myself, of course, and the little maitre d' or the waiter or waitress would come and say, in front of me would be a man. And they would say, "One, sir?" And he would say yes, and she would take him to his table. And when she came to me, she would say, "Just one?" And it was so powerful, because for him, it was "One, sir?" And for me as a female, it was like, "Oh, you're by yourself. I mean, you don't have anybody with you. You're just one." And it was such a revelation to me. And it happened for years and years, just one. And so that was something that perked my awareness of that word. And then there's this other word that we use so much, and Beth has helped me recognize this in the last month or so. When people say "take care," that's like saying, well, it is saying "be careful." Well, what is "be careful"? Be careful has the mindset and the mind association of there's something to fear out there, so you better be careful. And so we're sending that energy of fear unknowingly with just the vernacular that we're so accustomed to. And then you just mentioned, Beth, about disciple. That word disciple means disciplined one. And so as we become more and more disciplined or habitual about the way we speak, we are raising that vibration and that frequency to a frequency of love and that higher self. And unconsciously, we are helping to heal the collective when we are conscious of these words. And I think there was one more I had. I wanted to say that when Beth talked about earlier understanding, when she first said that to me, probably 2 months, 3 months ago, I thought, I don't know about that. But you know, I'm seeing what that means, and it means we're standing under. When we're saying understanding, we're standing, we're sending that message of somehow we're standing under something. And so I kind of like that inner standing better than understanding. So anyway, that's my contribution, and love to all.
Thank you, family. Yeah, and it's being conscious and awake to our thoughts, and then our words, right? Our words are the manifestation of thoughts. And then the presence behind the mind, the vibration of that presence behind the mind, whether it's fear or love, the competition or cooperation, lack or abundance, determines the thoughts and then the spoken word. And so when we're changing our minds, renewing our minds, renewing our life, renewing our creation, renewing our identity, we have to renew all that with it, become aware. Thank you, Zena.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to mention on my journey, I kind of started the same way you did, Beth, where I was taken into a schoolhouse to learn English, and I didn't know a word of English. And so I sat in a room with people speaking a different language, trying to figure out what was going on. And all I can remember is, I remember how it felt. And I have to say, my language has been emotion, been my gut. It's been my strength. I think that's why I got into animals and nature, because they speak in emotion and pictures and not in word. And, you know, the English language has been a struggle for me, because I've always felt that my strength was the non-verbal language. And then I ended up in a visionary class that was all about language, because I thought, well, this is interesting. But what I wanted to bring out is, in my journey and knowing that I don't have a strong English language poor to start with. My language is more emotional, in pictures, more I see and feel people. And Gucci. And what I wanted to bring up was, for me, the difficulty was to find words that were creating what I wanted. So instead of saying I would like to have money, or I wish I had more money, I had to stop myself, because I kept, like longing for it. So I kept continuing to put words that created the longing. So I am abundance. I am creative. Being present in the word and being creative and intentional with the word is hugely important. And now what James brought forward really helps. Like, now I want to take each one of those words and break it down even more to be more specific. It's not the more exotic words I can come up with. It's the truth of the word that I want to bring out. So thank you so much for bringing that to my awareness, James, because that was huge for me. So I appreciate this very much.
Thanks, Sheila. It is huge. It is life changing. Because you know what you're saying. You know what you're thinking. And James, you have to do a whole class on this, because I'm not nearly as organized as that you are. So go ahead and speak, James, please. Thank you.
Did you call on me? Because I had quite confused. So I guess I'll talk about two things. Like, the first one I'll talk about is the idea of awareness. The word awareness literally says awareness. It means like aware. Like, where are you? I'll tell you where you are energetically, right? It's like energetically is where you are. When we talk about this idea about like, I know Beth says all the time, you gotta expand your awareness, and you gotta expand your awareness. I'm gonna share this real quick, what this is. Not that, no. Where'd he go? I got so many screens down there open. Well, that's it right here. So this right here is a fractal. And I'm trying to start, so you see it? Okay, so you should be able to see it now, right? And so imagine, if you will, the same expression over and over and over and over again, expressing itself, becoming more and more complex as it gathers together in this expression together, becoming more and more complex, right? And so if we think to ourselves from a standpoint of, like, let me stop this and show a quick picture real quick. What Beth was talking about, I kind of wanted to touch on this. Can everybody see this? It says full wave mixing here. So basically, imagine, if you will, just that same fractal, like, as it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, on one side it's getting smaller, but on the other side it's actually getting infinitely large. So you have both of these things is getting infinitely large and infinitely small. So in your body, when that energy, that Kundalini energy, rises up to the pineal gland, and energy coming from the top down, it squeezes all the way down to the Planck length. When it squeezes all the way down to the Planck length, then we have it bounces back, and we have full wave mixing, right? And broad spectrum full wave mixing happening in the body. That's when the telomeres begin to start getting longer. That's when we talk about fractality, because the DNA is the same type of spiral. And it has the ability to tighten. And as it tightens together, something we call centrifugal force, which basically means it's moving towards its center versus falling apart. And so when things are fission instead of fusing, they're falling apart. And so we have the definition of what love is. I have it on a bullet right here. It says love moves everything towards its center in its perfect proportions. And so because love moves everything towards its center in its perfect proportions, what I tell most people, the whole reason we're on this journey in the first place, we talk about healing. The word healing literally means resistance. When you're going uphill, you're just going into resistance. And so when we release the resistance, there's no longer a need for healing, allowing the self to move towards its center in its perfect proportions towards love. So, okay, so I wanted to share that. And just say that, oh yeah, and the last thing is the the 1, 2, 3, the ABCs of awareness. Well, most of us are trying to get to the D, to decide, right? Before we get to the point that we do got step A, right? So step A, what is A? We got A, then that's one, right? So we talk about A1, we talk about the alpha, we talk about the oneness. So first thing is we're A, we're one. Then the second thing is B. Most people like B, I just want to be B. Like B what? B1, right? From these, now you have two, an aspect of oneness being itself. Then you have C, which is three, which is the synthesis, right? But what are you seeing? You're seeing yourself. So you have to acknowledge yourself, be yourself, and see yourself. Then you can actually decide to go in the direction of yourself. So I just wanted to just share that. Thank you, guys.
That's awesome.
James,
That's amazing. I'm writing this down.
Yes.
could you share that visual one more time? Because
Which
that's
one?
when the one that kind of went into the fractal patterns.
Oh, you wanted a fractal? Okay.
Because I wanted to tell you, that's exactly when an ayahuasca journey starts. That's exactly what happens. You go into one of those and then you're in this, that's exactly for somebody who's never been there. That's exactly what happens.
Wow.
Just goes, and then you just go more and more and then there, and then boom. Yep. That's incredible.
I have a riddle for you guys. If you get a riddle for you, and it's beautiful because it's so this is I say that these type of things come through me. It's not like I try to invite these things. They hit me and hit me, and it's like, oh my God, oh, it's right. So this is the greatest riddle of all time. All right, this is the greatest riddle of all time, pun intended. Okay, so how do you become nothing such that you become everything? And the answer is only 1 or 2 words. How is it that you become nothing such that you become everything? This is the greatest riddle of all time, pun intended.
Clearly, we don't know. Can you please tell us?
You have to rid all.
You have to rid all.
Rid all, riddle.
Riddle.
You have to rid all.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So even get rid of the word all even. If you spoke that word, James, would it be? Or just like the all in thinking? I mean, that's oneness, right?
Mhm. Yes. So yeah, it's like to rid all. The idea is like, well, how do you become nothing? Is like in this world, a lot of times what's happening is we need some type of attachment. We need something other than the present moment. Like everything exists within now, the present, right? So that's why I'll share one more slide with you guys. Everything exists in the present, and there's nothing that exists outside that. And if somehow, some way you find yourself beginning to start looking at something being greater, one moment being greater than the next moment, this breath is greater than the next moment. That's attachment. That's not true. That's a lie. I'll just go down. I'll get to you. There it goes. Boom. You guys see that? Or
No.
I don't think I was sharing. Hold on. I'm gonna share it now. In here. Boom. All right. If I leave you today, leave with this. In order to be the gift, you have to be in the present. If you're in the present, then you're grateful, meaning fully filled or fulfilled. This is your purpose or reason. It's that simple. Like you don't have to go no further than that right there. So if you can be in the present, which is the now the present, think this, the present is the present, meaning that it's already done. So you already gave it to yourself. All you have to do is accept it, be it. And in that same simple gesture of being present, in that same simple gesture, you can be grateful and greatly filled. So that's all I have to share.
That's awesome. That's huge.
That's beautiful.
That's so amazing, James. Yeah, that was the part that I really was the shift. And it was like a year ago this time. I was going through this divorce with my husband, and I just let go. I'm just like, well, I guess this is supposed to happen. And I just watched it happen. So I wasn't trying to hold on to any of that. And then even like I thought I was gonna move, so I like got rid of everything in this house because I was gonna go move up to the mountains, which I am going to. Thank you, Marie. And eventually, but and then I was like, what? I felt stuck. I couldn't move. I couldn't make a choice. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's happening? I was asking, and it said, you have to get what you want. You have to be grateful for where you are and what you have right now. Don't desire a change. Love where you have. And I just went, oh my gosh, because I was thinking I had to move. And so that was when I said, oh, okay. Oh, and it was just like this huge revelation. I'm like, what am I doing? I have this house with all this room, and I don't need to move somewhere to like start this. I have it right here, like right here in front of my face. And it was really hilarious. I just laughed, but it was my thinking that I needed to move somewhere and create this wellness center somewhere else, when that's all that is real is right now in the present. And so in that minute, I was like, I just got like a huge revelation, and
Revolution.
a revolution. Yes, very. And literally, I have just let go, and all of this, once in a while, like thoughts will come in, and I'm like, that's not even relevant. Like about like the future and money and whatever, and I'll just start laughing. I'll just pull myself back to now, and then I see a whole world of people planning to die, planning to not have money when they retire, planning to not have enough, planning to pay for their medical bills because they're going to be sick, definitely, planning to like, I need to have to pay for all these medications that I'm going to be on, planning for like my nursing home and then I'm going to have to live in. And I'm just like, it's so, clear why we are where we are and why we're all sick. Like we are bringing that into fruition. We're speaking it into existence. And my friend, she's like, oh my gosh, I got this stuff going on in my throat. My mom had to have her thyroid removed, and I'm like, oh well, do you want to have yours removed? Do you want to have thyroid cancer? She's like, no. And I said, well, you better stop talking about it then. She's like, oh my gosh, you're right. But like we do, that's what epigenetics is. Our environment controls our biology. It controls our DNA. It controls what turns off and what turns on. And so the environment of the mind, and we're looking at the environment of out here, which it is now because of all of this distortions out there and the inversions, but it's the environment of the mind that is what's making us sick, our thinking. And so I only live in the now, and all my needs are always met all the time through however it just shows up. And honestly, money just shows up. Matter of fact, my ex-husband just called me a couple weeks ago, said, you're getting a new job, I'm going to give you more money. And like, my first thought was, oh no. And that little voice says, I told you I would take care of you. I'm like, oh. So I received. I'm like, okay, thank you. He said, because I see you're doing good work, which, this man is amazing. He's just programmed in that too, in his childhood. And so for him to, money was his safety thing. So for him to freely give that, it was huge. So whatever is happening within him, clearly something beautiful is happening. For him to just really do that for me, for us, for humanity. And yeah, like stay in the now. this is all that's real. This is the only place you're experiencing. A week or so ago, Faye Marie was at the kitchen table and she's like, it was 8:30. She's like, oh, she doesn't usually go to bed till like 2 a.m. I'm serious. She's like, oh my God, this experiencing everything is exhausting. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I'm experiencing all these things I just never was looking at before because we just are not aware. It's hilarious. And I was watching her walk across the Home Depot and she's like taking these carts back and I'm looking at her and I'm like, hey Marie, look at the sky. Look at the sky. And all of a sudden she's looking at the sky. I'm like, look at how beautiful it is, Faye Marie. And she's just, she didn't know I was like channeling her to look at the sky. And she said, I think you were watching me. Open your mic, Faye Marie. What did you say?
Yeah, I was taking 2 of the buggies back because I thought, somebody left their buggy out. And as I was and I'm taking both of these back, and I was walking back, and I looked up because Beth is always, putting her hands up and, communing with the sky and everything. And so it just happened. I just looked up and I put my hands up and I'm going, whoa, this is so beautiful. And she was watching me the whole time and she was apparently sending me vibes. Look up. So anyway, yeah, we're very tuned in to each other's thoughts, and that was beautiful. So yeah, experiencing the now is awesome. And I've always felt like I was experiencing the now. But I wasn't like I am now. I am present most of the time. And when I'm not, I bring myself back. And it's wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful.
It is wonderful. It's fun. It's so much fun. And I'm afraid of nothing. There's zero fear. Zero. And I feel amazing all the time. I live in nirvana because I live in now. That's the only place life happens. So does anybody else want to share?
I have a question, Beth. Okay. A little while ago, let me look back on my note. I made a note to ask you a question. Let me see if I can see the context. You said, this was about an hour ago, you said, I have the ability to, you said that you were talking about, I know everyone is me, and I have the ability to direct someone's body to help others. Remember saying that? And it occurred to me to ask you, I put a question mark, do we energetically or actually, in terms of cognitively, need to have agreement from the other? Or if we are, prayer, when we're moving in prayer, as most of us have done most of our life, maybe in a way, in the church or whatever. Now that I understand the more of the metaphysics of prayer, I cognitively and consciously send light and see light. I may not know because I don't pray result. I don't know what the result is. I want that highest good and the light for someone. However, when you say I have the ability to direct someone's body, do we need permission for that? What's your thought on that?
We're always in prayer all the time.
Say that again.
We're always in
Oh,
prayer.
I know that. I know that. But you said that I have the ability to direct someone's body to help others. So is that what you were meaning?
Yeah. We can help and harm others because we are other. So everything I think and say and be We're always in resonance, or, you know.
I think I'll just make a quick comment though.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting here talking to Sarah G, and I'll be like, I could feel like Beth, she comes and visits me, like, and I could feel her in my body. I was like, I know you're there, Beth. I could feel you in your body. It's like, I know one day she called me, woke me up. I was like, oh, I know it. Because I felt all this bliss well up in my body. I was like, she got a taste of that bliss that was in my body. And she comes to James. I was like, you mess around with the fire, you get burned. So you have to be careful. At the same time, to me, it's like, just like you said, Faye Marie, I think that you should have, in a sense, we could say, I say permission, in a sense, but I do work, for me, I feel like I work through the universe. And so through my methodology, just kind of like Beth's methodology is through the holographic universe, and it's very much different. She's more or less talking to the higher perspective of that person versus some people know how to go and just put energy into, to send energy to people. And it doesn't, like, because people have to heal them. They have to, the reason why that thing is there is because it has to be resolved. And if you just go, if you know how to just go around and start healing people from their sicknesses, and they actually need to have those sicknesses in order for them to process those issues, because they're there for a reason. And so if you're not, in a sense, working through the universe or through the higher perspective of that person, in a sense, if you don't know how to call to that power, then I will ask that person's permission. And I've had opportunities where I've worked with somebody and because I can sense and feel like I can connect to them on a level. And if I can't connect to them on that level, like I can connect to them on a certain level, because I know their heart is open. If I can't connect to them on that certain level, that inner child level, I get to that level, oh, okay, I got that part. And then once they get they're in this higher state, then I can connect to the higher perspective of them. Then we can just have conversations, right? We just have conversations, but it's just different when people's hearts aren't open and they have what I call a samskara. They have to move through those issues themselves in order to release that block within them. So that's my perspective. And so at certain levels of advancement that you in I guess in the energy game, I guess I could call it. So thank you.
I'm glad you said what, let's see, Beth, let's see. Yeah, if you would mute a second, Beth. Thank you for that, James. Yeah, I'm working with someone right now who's very, very close to me. And I had the revelation today that I really need to back off, because her heart isn't open and she doesn't understand that she is creating this repetitive reality over and over. I mean, it's like living in Groundhog Day, the movie, in her house. You know what I'm talking about, Beth. And I love her dearly. And I can see that I have to, from this point forward, until she recognizes that this is a creation and this is a path that has got to be awakened to and enlightened within her, then I'm impeding. If I were to continue, it would not be wisdom. And so, thank you for that, James.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say real quickly that I don't, when somebody comes to me for help, yes, I have to have their permission. I would never step into somebody's field. And what I don't actually is I open my field and bring them into my field, so I can just create facilitate their own healing. So I'm not healing anyone. I'm just raising their vibration so they can hear them. And so, yes, always have to have permission, and I do have to be very careful with that. And those that when I work in the field, which most of you are in the field working with me already, whether or not you are aware whether or not you are there, and we are guiding souls back to the light. And so I see you there. And you might not be comfortable where when you come back. The dogs are going crazy. You might not be consciously aware, but you're there, and we're working together. And so when I need answers, a lot of times I'll connect with you in the field, and then you guys will give me the answers. I don't know what's going on with the dogs. Go ahead. Sorry. Zena.
That's so funny because James, I want to confirm what you say by the work I do. And a lot of times I don't have language because these are my friends that I communicate with. And I can't ask, excuse me, hi, I just met you, you're from Mexico. Would you like me to heal you? So I have to send them a picture or meet them energetically where they are. A lot of animals will meet you at the seventh dimension, which is theta. And so I think that's why Beth is so easy to come into, because she opens you up to elevate without you doing anything. And then you can, it's not a verbal agreement, but it's an energetic connection that allows you to go there. I go energetically with a horse that's lame and say, would you like me to work on this on an energetic level? And if I get confirmation from them there, I'm home free. And I think that happens with people as well.
Yeah, it does. Matter of fact, with my sister, she's dying of cancer right now, and she doesn't. And so I asked her, and she doesn't. And I respect that completely. That's what she is. And there's something I don't know. There's a lesson for whatever that is. And so I allow and accept it and see it as love. Thank you. Did somebody else have their hand up? No? All right. Well, this is amazing. Thank you guys for showing up. James, we would love for you to put together a presentation for us.
Crystal has her hand up.
Definitely.
Oh, Crystal.
I just figured out how to do this. I know that in Reiki training as well, if we're wanting to give this Reiki to somebody that we know they're having a hard time and we haven't spoken to them, in this 3D, that we ask them energetically. And I've very rarely had anybody energetically say no, but I have had that happen a time or two. One of those times was my mother. But so it's interesting to just learn more about these facets. But I also wanted to ask James if you could please repeat your definition of love. That was amazing. I was trying to write it down really quick.
Oh. Love moves everything towards its center in its perfect proportion, therefore making it the principle of law of attraction. I didn't say that, but that's what it is. And I also wanted to say to Faye Marie that when a lot of us, I say, we get a taste of the absolute unconditional love, and then you go up to somebody and you just would like share that with them, give them a taste of what that is, and they have no conception or idea how to even take, not even at all, have no conception of what that is, no conception of what perfection and God and love and the totality of all of that. And all you want to do is give them some of that, and they just stay just too stuck in the past, so they're stuck in the past or stuck in the future, projecting their awareness somewhere else rather than just being here now. And it sucks. But that's their journey, and we have to allow them to do that. And if I took that away from them, I would be doing them a disservice.
Exactly. And that was hard. I mean, that's what I'm experiencing with my sister. But because I am her, I just really only see the beauty in it. And the rest of my family is all, and that may sound odd, but to me it's beautiful. Because I only can see the beauty. So it's perfect. And I get a lot of information. And I'm with someone. I just can read their whole field, and all this stuff comes up, and I ask, should I tell them? And 90% of the time it says be still. So because they're not ready to hear that, they have something, you know, they need to keep experiencing what, or actually mostly they need to find it out for themselves. It's really what it is. And so if I gave them the answers, it wouldn't be received, and it would actually detour them from their path. And so it is often interesting that you have information that could really help someone, and you are not allowed to give that to them. And I see that as love too, because they requested this journey, and they're me. And so I respect myself. I respect them. You're muted, James. Or maybe he's talking to somebody else. Are you talking to me, James?
No, I wasn't. I
Okay.
wasn't talking to you.
Okay.
No, but I definitely be willing to do that class with you, Beth. You know that. You only have
I'm
to.
just so busy, but I want it so much because I know a lot of, but James just knows how to do it. And he has, he just, we're all amazing, but James, I would love that so much. So informative. And it brings so much clarity because it's dimensions upon dimensions. Like the body, this body reflects the body of the spirit, which reflects the body of the earth. The continents, the planet reflects the organs in the body, right? The heartbeat in the body reflects the heartbeat of the middle of the earth, which reflects the pulse of the divine. Everything is just a fractal of the same pattern. And if you see that, you know that you're creating out of it, and you can. To sin is just to miss the mark. So you just bring yourself back to alignment and course correct. And that's what we're doing. So, Dina, did you have your hands up? Did you have one more thing?
Just a quick comment is and I don't think it's uncommon for people who are healers to try to help their family and get denied. That's happened to me several times. And for me, that's my cue to do Ho'oponopono, because I may not have permission to do it on you, but I can heal it in me and send you that energy. It's another toolkit thing that Raj taught me. Thank you, Raj.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, Zena, for reminding us that, because that is, I do that a lot for people in this house, and they're not aware of it, but I am. And the beauty that so clear that, because they're me. When I see them, they're me. And so when they're talking to me about whatever is going on with them, I know exactly what they're talking about because they're me. And I know that might sound weird. I don't know how to explain it because it's experiential, but they are me. And so I can see the pattern, and I can see the bigger picture, and I can see the beauty in all of us, right? We are learning and growing. And so we are each other's teachers by reflecting to each other what it is within ourselves we need to look at. And so it's not always fun, but it is so beautiful to me, because if you could see from my position, it's that which births forth love. And pain brings beauty, but if you stick with it, my oh my, the results are unimaginable. In this 3D mind, it's unimaginable. And then your imagination is limitless. And I see it happening all the time. Thank you, guys. Does anybody have any final words? Final words. We're talking about language. Make them good words. No?
This is my godhood right here. So
Okay.
don't get hoodwinked. Don't get hoodwinked. Keep your godhood on.
Okay.
I'll see y'all later.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Jane. All right, everybody. Look at what a beautiful space we created. We connected our hearts, and we just in presence, and sharing our stories and our beautiful words, because we are the Logos, we are the word of the divine in flesh, word made flesh, and I'm choosing to be the word of love. And it feels amazing, and I think that's where we all are. So thank you so much, and I love you all. I love me. I love you. We are one. Thank you for showing up for you and me and us. And we're creating so much beauty. We have just cleared so much in the field just right now. Thank you all. Thank you. I love you. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Good night, everybody. Lecca, Rob, everybody, Kathy.
You're on
Mwah.
mute.
Love you all.
You're muted, Marie. She's talking.
Thank you all.
Just wanted to say hello to Lecca and Rob and Kathy, and thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Crystal, we're talking
Bye-bye.
soon. Crystal, Rob, we'll see you in a week.
Night.
Good night.
And Zena, when you gonna come visit? Bring your animals. We do lots of animals here. So. All right, Kathy, we'll see you soon too. Bye all. I love you.
Bye,
Good night,
all.
good evening. Bye.